Hello everyone, it's the two of us again, 2/3 of a band on ship, and we're here to show you your way round a wonderful, iconic song, As Time Goes By. Well, you know it of course from the film Casablanca, but it wasn't written for Casablanca, it was written in 1931. And Casablanca was made in 1942. It was written by a composer and lyricist by the name of Hermann Hupfeld, who had quite a few songs published, but this was by far and away his biggest hit. It was obviously, as I'm sure you all know, it was played in the film and performed in the film by Dooley Wilson. Now, Dooley Wilson's real name was Arthur. And just as a coincidence, Arthur Wilson is the name of the character that John LeMessurier played in Dad's Army. Sorry.
You're digressing again.
Just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now the musician who composed all of the music for Casablanca was a man named Max Steiner. And he didn't actually want As Time Goes By in the film Casablanca, but he was overruled. And what a good job he was. Anyway, enough of the history. This song, when it was composed in 1931, it had a first verse, which was dropped for the film because it was no longer topical and because it didn't suit the way the film was proceeding. And so nobody ever sings the first verse these days. I've got it on the song sheet if you're interested. I'm not going to go through it with you because that would take too long, but if you want to hear how the first verse sounds as well as looks, it's on the song sheet available on request. Go to YouTube and seek out Rudy Vallee's version of this song and you will hear the song in its entirety. But anyway, enough of all that. We're just going to work on the bit that everybody knows, as in Casablanca. Now, I make no apology for telling you that we're raising the bar with this song because there are some unusual chords in it, aren't there, Pam?
Yes, there are. To the point where my bit of music looks like that.
And you can see all the...
all my scribbles down the side.
Yeah, I'll get that a bit closer.
All right.
You can see all Pam's chord window charts handwritten down the side there. We actually don't need that many.
No.
Okay,
All
right. So we're just going to go for a very, very simple introduction. We're doing this in the key of C. The simple introduction is just 2 beats of D minor 7th, 2 beats of G 7th, and a whole bar, 4 beats of C. There, simples.
Play the C with your little finger.
And play the C with your little finger comes the advice from my associate here. If you play the C with your little finger, then it's already in place for the next chord, the first chord of the song, which is a D minor 7th. Right, okay. Okay, wish us luck, we're going in. It starts on a D minor 7th. You must remember this. Okay, to a G7 and then a G diminished. And by all means, play the G diminished in the first position, 0, 1, 0, 1. And then we're going to the first of the slightly unusual chords. It's a G7 with an augmented fifth, or G7 plus, as you'll see it in the chord charts. And the plus means that the plus 5 means that you take the 5th note in the scale and sharpen it by half a tone. So, we take the scale of G, we need, where do we go? Okay, now the G, A, B, C is the 4th note, D is the 5th note in the scale, so if we're going to sharpen that, we need to take it up to a D sharp or an E flat. And we're doing that on a G7 shape. So the G7 shape is 0, 2, 1, 2 as usual. and you need to put your little finger onto the 3rd fret of the C string to achieve that augmented 5th. Now, it's quite awkward actually to go there from a G diminished.
I don't do it with my little finger, I do it.
Pam does it with her ring finger, but I do it by playing an ordinary G7 shape and then double fretting the C string, like that. It works for me. You can find a way that works for you. But there we are. So we get, you must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss. Where am I going?
Well, I got it.
All right, clever clogs. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. Now, at the end of the first line, we've got just a little bit of a turnaround there. It starts on an A minor, then goes to a D minor 7, and then goes to a C diminished, which is 2-3-2-3 here, and then to a C. And it's 2 beats on the A minor, 2 beats on the D minor 7th, and then 1 beat on the C dim, and then 1 beat on the C. So it works like this. If we do that first line again, 2, 3, 4. You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fun. Okay, right. So we've gone from a C to a D7 at the beginning of the second line. The fundamental. So if you're on a C, just bar the 2nd fret. The fundamental things. Or you can play it like that, whichever way you like. But from there, you're going to a C diminished. The fundamental things, which might be a bit awkward. So if you play that C at the end of the line with your little finger there, and leave your little finger there for the D7, then your little finger is there to go to the C dim, which is just making life a little bit easier. From that C diminished we go to an E minor 7th, which is 0-2-0-2 as we know, and if you're on that C dim you can just move those 2 fingers over, your 1st and 2nd fingers, move them over 1 string so that they're on 1 and 3 instead of 2 and 4. The fun as time goes by. Quick chord changes: D minor 7, G7, C major 7, 0-0-0-2. This is just to keep the accompaniment moving and to put some interesting harmonies into the accompaniment, because the melody is so simple. Because the tune itself is simple, we've got a lot going on in the accompaniment, and it makes it more interesting.
Let's call it interesting.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, now we get to the end of the first verse as time goes by, starting on that C major 7th. We go to a G minor 6th, which sounds daunting, but don't be frightened, it's just 0-2-0-1. So you've got 2 open strings in it. And then we go to an A7th, which has got 3 open strings in it. And then we just tweak that little A7th a bit by adding the augmented 5th, which is put your middle finger as it's there. If you're using your index finger for the A7th, put your middle finger next to it on the 1st fret of the E string. So it looks daunting on paper, but when you break it down, it's not so much. I mean, A7 is fine, but you see A7 augmented, and you think, what the bright blue brick dust could that possibly be? It's just 0-1-1-0. So not difficult to finger, just getting it. It's just learning the code with chord names, as always. Right, second verse. Well, it starts the same as the first, so you go through exactly those same chord changes until you get to the end of the verse, because you're going to the bridge. And as we know, if a song is in C, then the chances are that the bridge is going to go into the key of F major. And so it proves here. And in order to get to that, it takes a slightly roundabout route, but don't worry about it. So at the end of the second verse, no matter what the future brings, as time goes, just one beat on each of those, the D minor, G7, C, and from that C we are going to an F minor sixth, which you might find it if you go to that C with your little finger, then you're in the right, the little finger is in the right place to go to the F minor sixth, which is 1, 2, 1, 3. So C to F minor sixth, and then to a C ninth, which is again 2 open strings, 0, 2, 0, 1. And then just lift your middle finger off to a plain C7th in the first position. So that C7, of course, wants to resolve itself to an F, and so it does for the bridge. We get Moonlight and Love Songs, and then Never Out of Date. Never is an A7th, which is, again, 3 open strings, but you can just tweak that again by adding the flattened ninth, which is the first fret of the A string, and it echoes the melody and just keeps the accompaniment moving. So we get the first line of the bridge is Moonlight and Love Songs, never out of date. So easy. So whichever finger you use for the A7th, whether it's the middle finger or index finger, you've got a finger spare just to fret that first string of the A string. First fret of the A string. I must get these teeth seen too. And now it gets interesting. The second line of the bridge, hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Now that's really the nasty part of the song, hate, jealousy and hate. So we need to reflect that in what we're playing. So we get hearts full of, it starts on a D minor, then we put the D minor 7th on, hearts full of passion, go to a C diminished, jealousy. Now here's a little trick. Sometimes when you see professional performers dancing their fingers around the fretboard and looking very, very impressive, if you break it down and analyse it, you realise that they're playing the same chord in different positions. And we can do that here. We can play that C diminished. Now, if you remember your musical theory about diminished chords, then you know that they repeat every 3 frets. So what is a diminished chord, C diminished, 2, 3, 2, 3, if you add 3 frets to that, you can play it as 5, 6, 5, 6. So you just slide the same position up 3 frets, and it just gives it a real climax there at the end of Hearts Full of Passion, Jealousy and Hate. That's playing that up there, 5, 6, 5, 6, gives it a real crash. So the second line of that verse is 2, 3, 4. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. See, really gives it a bit of oomph. And then we go to an A minor, Woman Needs Man. Now, if you want to play the A minor 7th as that, feel free to do so, but you're going from an A minor to an A minor 7th, and the A minor 7th that seems to fit here is 0, 4, 5, 3, because you've got that C note on there. So Woman Needs Man, and man, we're going to a D7th. The closed position D7 works quite well because of where we're going next, and we're going to an absolutely jarring, harmonious discord, and it's a D, but with a flattened ninth. And I say, it sounds daunting, but don't be put off because it's not difficult. Because it's simply a D, like that, 2-2-2-5, with your middle finger onto the 3rd fret of the C string. And it's lovely. Or if you're playing an open D7th, you can just use either your ring finger or little finger, depending which 2 fingers you're using for the D7, just to pop the E flat note, the 3rd fret of the C string, on there. But it sounds better if you put the 2 notes that are only a semitone apart, well, a semitone short of an octave apart, which is the E flat on the C string and the D on the A string. And it's lovely. And again, you've got that climax, the end of the line, man must have his mate. And so it's such a clever arrangement of the song. So if we do the 3rd line of that bridge, Pam, 2, 3, 4. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. It jars and it's lovely. And then we settle down that no one, D minor 7th, G or diminished, then a G 9th, which is 0, 2, 0, 1, and then to a G7. So,
isn't it 0210?
Sorry, 0210. I keep getting that wrong. Thank you, Pam.
It's all right.
0210. That goes to a G7, and of course, as we all know, G7 wants to resolve to C, so we get back into the key of C for the last verse, starting on the D minor 7th. Then the last verse goes through exactly the same as the first 2 until we get to the end, because this is the end of the song. We don't need any fancy coders or anything, any repeating of the last line. We just go, the world will always welcome lovers as time goes by, and we can finish it there. So the last line of all is, the world will always welcome lovers, a G7, and then the last 3 chords are very different from anything that's gone before, because we get to an F major 7th, which preferred position is 5-5-5-7, but you can play it as 5-5-0-0, and that is followed by G minor 7th augmented. Now we've had G 7th augmented, which is 0-3-1-2, like that. But this being a minor 7th augmented is 0-3-2-2. Isn't that lovely? So that, and then we finish, you'll be delighted to know that we can finish on a C6. So that last line goes like 2, 3, 4. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. There. Now I said we'd raise the bar. There is quite a lot in there. But it's like, don't be daunted by it. If you want the song sheet, we'll gladly send it to you. Have a look at it, and then when you've recovered and had a nice long lie down in a darkened room, if you've got still got any problems with it, for goodness sake, shout, and we'll try to answer your queries. But as I've said, because it's such a simple melody, you can really go to town with the accompaniment and put some beautiful harmonies in.
A lovely jazzy chord.
Yeah, some of these chords are very much jazz chords, and the song is all the better for having an interesting accompaniment rather than just you know, 3 or 4 chords, which you could get away with, but it wouldn't sound the same.
No, you know us.
Yes, would we do that to you? Incidentally, I've because this song really doesn't matter whether you're using a low or high G. So I've dug out my high G, lovely Excelsior tenor here. What have I forgotten? Oh yes, I know, there is one thing I'd forgotten. With the G diminished in the verses, well, you must remember this. The G diminished is 0101, if you like, and that's fine. That's fine, that's perfectly valid, and it works well. But again, if you just want to up the ante a little bit, you can play the G diminished in the second position. Now, what I said about the diminished chords repeat every 3 frets. So from 0101, even I can add 3 to that and get to 3434, which is still a G diminished chord, but just in the second position. So you can drop that in every now and again if your fingers are feeling up to it. But that's just an aside. Okay, are we there?
Yes.
We've got through that. So,
we have. Please scribble all over your music. Make notes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we do. It's anything that helps get you through. There is no wrong way of doing this. If it works for you, do it. And so I hope you have a go at it. It's worth it. It's very rewarding. And it is such an iconic song that it really deserves to have a little bit of TLC in the accompaniment. So we make no apology for stretching things a bit. And I'll just reiterate what I said at the beginning. There is a first verse that nobody ever sings these days. If you want it, you can find it on YouTube, performed by Rudy Valley. But anyway, that's up to you entirely. You might want to go and have a look at it just out of curiosity, which is what I did. So, I think that's all from us for today. Crikey. Right, well, we need to go and have a lie down now, so that's what we're going to do. Don't forget to look out for our comic song coming up this Friday, a modern song, well, by our standards. And then
about 20 years old.
Yes, and we'll do that, and we'll put out a play along for this over the weekend, and more of the same as we get into May, well, we'll see how it goes from there. So, until we meet again, you know what to do. Stay safe, be kind to yourselves, look after each other. It's goodbye from Pam.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Bye-bye, see you soon.